Listen carefully, because this is the difference between men who live as kings and men who crawl through life like peasants. Your mind is your battlefield. Every thought, every fear, every hesitation, it's either your tool or it's your jailer. Most people let their minds dictate their actions. They let doubt, laziness, and weakness rule them. And guess what? That's why 90% of people never reach their potential. They are slaves to their own brain. Here's the truth. Your mind is like a wild stallion. If you don't ride it, it will throw you off and leave you broken on the ground. Fear, that's just your mind trying to protect you from growth. Excuses, that's your mind lying to you because it wants comfort. And comfort kills ambition. You must master your mind. You must bend it to your will. You must train it like a weapon, because success is born in the mind before it's born in the world. I'm telling you, every morning you wake up with a choice. Control your mind or let it control you. When you feel tired, when you feel weak, when you feel like quitting, that's exactly the moment to push harder. That's exactly the moment to dominate your thoughts instead of letting them dominate you. Champions, billionaires, top performers, they don't wait for motivation. They don't wait for the perfect conditions. They control their minds, and their minds control reality. So here's the hook you need to remember. You cannot outrun your own mind. You cannot hide from it. If you are weak inside, the world will crush you outside. If you do not train your mind, the universe will train it for you, and it will not be kind. Discipline your thoughts, sharpen your focus, and embrace the struggle, because the man who masters himself becomes unstoppable. Your mind is the battlefield where every war for success begins. You might think the world is against you, that life decides who wins and who loses, but the truth is far more brutal. The only war that matters is the one inside your own skull. Every fear, every hesitation, every doubt is an enemy soldier marching against your potential. And here's the kicker. Most people don't even realize it. They think the enemy is outside, society, the economy, bad luck. Wrong. The enemy is inside, whispering lies, telling you that you're not good enough, that you should settle, that you should be comfortable. That little voice, that's the general of the army trying to keep you small. If you don't take control, if you don't step up and claim dominance, you will be trampled. Every single day, your mind is testing you, and if you fail, it will win by default. The moment you wake up, your mind begins its silent assault. Thoughts rush in, some helpful, some toxic. If you don't choose which to follow, the toxic ones take the lead. Fear, procrastination, and self-doubt are insidious because they don't announce themselves. They creep in through small decisions, scrolling on your phone instead of working, listening to excuses instead of action, hesitating instead of striking. Every time you give in, your mind grows stronger and you grow weaker. Here's the brutal truth. If you think life owes you, if you wait for a sign, if you hesitate, you are losing. Right now, at this very second, the war is ongoing. And the only way to win is to recognize it, face it, and fight with precision and intensity. Your mind isn't just a passive player, it's the ultimate weapon. Imagine it like a high-performance engine. If you fuel it with fear, self-pity, and laziness, it sputters and dies. But if you fuel it with focus, discipline, and ambition, it becomes unstoppable, capable of crushing obstacles and bending reality to your will. Most people treat their minds like a casual tool, hoping it will work for them automatically. They think thinking positively is enough. Let me be clear, it isn't. Positive thinking without control is like putting a Ferrari engine in a car with no brakes. You're going fast, but you're about to crash. You must train your me. ND, to obey, to execute, to dominate every scenario that life throws at you. Your thoughts are your soldiers. You are the commander. Without leadership, chaos reigns. With it, you are unstoppable. Here's something most people never understand. Your mind will fight against you harder than anyone else ever could. It will whisper excuses while the world challenges you openly. It will tempt you with shortcuts, laziness, and the illusion of safety, while the path to greatness demands discomfort, pain, and relentless effort. And here's the hook. They don't warn you about this in schools. No one teaches you that the real war is mental. You must discover it yourself, or you will be a casualty. Every decision you make is a skirmish. Every thought you entertain is either arming you for victory or signing your surrender. The choice is yours, but you must act decisively, because hesitation is fatal. When you truly understand that your mind is the battlefield, your perspective changes. Suddenly, obstacles become tests, pain becomes training, and fear becomes a signal to strike harder. You stop blaming the world, because the truth is, no one controls you except you. This is the moment where winners separate from the masses. Winners don't wait for luck or circumstances to line up. Winners dominate their minds, they control their focus, they decide their actions, and they never let hesitation take the throne. The battlefield inside your mind is chaotic, ruthless, and relentless. But if you step onto it with awareness, strategy, and ferocity, you can become untouchable. Fear and doubt are not your enemies. They are illusions created by your mind to keep you small. They are the stories your brain tells you to stop you from stepping into the arena of life. And here's the brutal truth. The moment you let fear dictate your actions, you become weak. You give power to a voice that has never built anything, never fought anything, and never won anything. Fear is a liar. Doubt is a liar. They whisper that you're not ready, that the risk is too high, that failure is inevitable. And most people listen. They wait. They hesitate. They let life pass by while fear laughs at their hesitation. Here's the hook. Every moment you feel scared, that is the exact moment you must act. The fear is your signal that you are on the edge of greatness. The fear is your compass pointing straight toward victory. Doubt works in the same way, sneaky and insidious. Doubt makes you question your ability, your worth, and your purpose. It disguises itself as logic, making you think that careful avoidance is safety. But there is no safety in life. Safety is a cage. Growth is always uncomfortable. Doubt is the sound of your own excuses trying to masquerade as wisdom. The people who achieve, the people who dominate, the people who rise above mediocrity, they don't wait for doubt to disappear. They push through it. They stare it in the face and keep moving. They understand that doubt is a test, a filter designed to separate the weak from the strong. If you can harness it, use it as fuel, then you become unstoppable. Here's something most people never admit. Fear and doubt feel real. They feel heavy. They feel urgent. Your mind creates scenarios that paralyze you before you even move. But that's the trick. Your mind doesn't want you to succeed. It wants comfort. It wants you to settle for less, to remain in mediocrity, to live a life that is safe but meaningless. The instant you understand this, the instant you recognize that fear is not an enemy but a liar, you gain power, you gain clarity, you gain control. And once you control fear, once you master doubt, nothing in the outside world can stop you. The people who fail are not weak. They are blind. Blind to the manipulation of their own thoughts. They believe that fear is truth, that doubt is fact. They let these illusions dictate their lives. And here's the kicker. Life is not going to come to you gently. Life doesn't wait for your confidence to catch up. Opportunities don't knock politely. They demand action, decisiveness, and courage. You have to push forward even when your mind screams stop, even when your heart trembles, even when every instinct tells you to quit. That's the moment when winners are made. That's the moment when greatness is forged in fire. You can't let fear and doubt be the authors of your story. You must be the author, the commander, the architect. Every time you act despite fear, you teach your mind who is really in charge. Every time you push past doubt, you prove to yourself that nothing can control you except your own will. Fear is temporary. Doubt is temporary. Inaction is permanent. And here's the hook that hits hardest. The longer you let fear and doubt run your life, the longer you delay the man, the wealth, the legacy, and the freedom that you are capable of achieving. Discipline beats motivation every single time. And most people will never understand this because they are addicted to feeling inspired instead of being relentless. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind. One day you feel unstoppable, full of energy, ready to conquer the world. The next day you feel tired, lazy, or unsure, and suddenly everything that felt possible yesterday feels impossible today. That's the trap most people fall into. They wait for motivation to strike like lightning from the sky instead of creating their own fire. Discipline doesn't wait. Discipline doesn't care about feelings. Discipline is a machine. It is a habit, a commitment, a force that does not negotiate with weakness, excuses, or laziness. And here's the hook. If you can build discipline, motivation becomes irrelevant because you will act even when you don't feel like it. And that is where real success is forged. Think about the greats, successful entrepreneurs, elite athletes, top performers. Do you think they wake up every day brimming with motivation? No. They wake up early when it's dark. They push themselves when it hurts. They grind when no one is watching. Their lives are built on discipline. Discipline is the bridge between wanting and achieving, between dreaming and conquering. Motivation might get you started, but discipline carries you across the finish line. Most people quit before they ever build discipline because they think effort should feel easy. That's a lie. Effort is supposed to be hard. Effort is supposed to challenge every fiber of your being because that's what separates the winners from the weak. Here's another truth. Motivation is unreliable because it is external. It depends on circumstances, feelings, and inspiration. Discipline is internal. It is self-created, self-sustained, and self-enforced. When you have discipline, nothing outside can shake you. Rain, fatigue, criticism, setbacks, they don't matter. Discipline forces action regardless. It builds momentum when the world tries to stop you. Imagine a man who trains every day without needing motivation. Imagine a person who follows through even when tired, even when scared, even when every cell in their body screams to quit. That is the power of discipline. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is a furnace. One lights the path, the other burns the entire way forward. Most people confuse being busy with being disciplined. They fill their day with distractions, small wins, and shallow actions, thinking they are making progress. Discipline is not doing something because it feels good or looks productive. Discipline is doing what needs to be done relentlessly, consistently, and without complaint. It's waking up at 5 a.m. when the bed is warm and inviting. It's practicing your craft for hours when your body is screaming for rest. It's taking action when nobody is watching, when no one will applaud, when the only reward is the result that comes later. That is discipline. That is power. That is control over your destiny. Here's the hardest truth for most people to accept. Motivation will never be enough. Inspiration is temporary. Desire alone is meaningless. Only discipline guarantees results. And here's the hook that hits hardest. The more you rely on motivation, the weaker you become. The more you cultivate discipline, the stronger, faster, and more unstoppable you become. Every day you practice discipline, you train your mind and body to operate at a level most people will never reach because they are chasing the illusion of motivation instead of building the reality of power. The question is simple. Do you want to be someone who waits for the world to inspire you, or do you want to be someone who builds their own empire with relentless discipline? Discipline is the foundation. Motivation is optional. If you master discipline, everything else follows. Comfort is the silent killer of ambition. It sneaks in disguised as ease, relaxation, or just enough, and it slowly strangles every ounce of potential you have. Most people are addicted to comfort because it feels safe. They want the bed to be warm, the schedule predictable, the work minimal. They confuse comfort with stability, satisfaction, and happiness. That is a lie. Comfort is the enemy because it stops growth, it kills hunger, and it makes mediocrity feel acceptable. Here's the hook. The second you choose comfort over challenge, you are choosing weakness. Every time you settle, every time you take the easy route, you are handing your power to someone else. You are giving up the fight before it even begins, and your mind will thank you for being lazy while the world leaves you behind. Think about it. Every great achievement in history, every empire built, every record broken, every fortune earned, none of it happened in comfort. Growth requires struggle. Success demands sacrifice. The body grows stronger under resistance. The mind sharpens under pressure. Your character is forged in fire, not in ease. And yet, most people run from the struggle. They avoid the pain, the work, the risk, and they wonder why they never rise. Here's the kicker. Comfort is not just a physical state. It is a mental trap. It tells you that you are good enough when you are not. It whispers that mediocrity is acceptable. And if you listen, it will crush every ambition before you ever take action. The problem is, comfort feels good right now. It seduces you with short-term pleasure, but it destroys long-term power. Eating the easiest meal, scrolling endlessly on your phone, choosing to rest instead of grinding. These are small acts, but repeated daily, they define the trajectory of your life. That's why most people look back at 40, 50, 60 and realize they have nothing to show for it. They didn't fail in one big moment. They failed in thousands of tiny ones, choosing comfort over the pain of growth. Here's the hook that cuts deep. Your comfort zone is the cage you build for yourself, and only you hold the key. Winners, the men and women who dominate in life, understand this instinctively. They embrace discomfort because they know it is a sign of progress. They wake up early when the world sleeps. They push past exhaustion. They take risks that terrify them, and they fight through pain. Discomfort is their training ground. Every challenge faced, every boundary broken, every fear confronted is a victory over the seductive lies of comfort. And the more they endure, the stronger they become. Ordinary people run from discomfort. Extraordinary people run towards it because they know it is the only path to mastery. Here's the brutal truth. Life will never give you success wrapped in comfort. If you want to dominate, if you want to build power, wealth, or legacy, you must embrace struggle. You must choose the hard path every day because the easy path leads only to irrelevance. Comfort doesn't just slow you down. It kills your ambition before you even realize it. Every time you choose the easy way out, your mind gets weaker. Every time you face discomfort head on, your min D grows sharper, your will stronger, your potential closer to being unleashed. Here's the hook you must remember. Comfort is not your friend. It is the enemy lying in wait, smiling as you settle for less. If you want to achieve greatness, you must become uncomfortable on purpose. You must seek challenges that scare you, push limits that frighten you, and embrace pain that most people run from. The more you force yourself out of comfort, the more unstoppable you become. Because your mind and body start to operate in levels most people cannot reach. Comfort is the enemy. but struggle is your weapon, and only those willing to wield it will conquer the life they deserve. Your reality is nothing more than a reflection of your thoughts. Every action you take, every decision you make, every level you reach or fail to reach begins in the mind. Most people never realize this because they let their thoughts wander like untrained animals, chaotic and uncontrolled. They complain about circumstances, blame others for failures, and wonder why their lives feel stagnant. Here's the hard truth. The world does not decide your fate, your mind does. If you cannot master your thoughts, you will forever be a slave to the chaos inside you. And here's the hook. The moment you realize your reality is built in your mind, you gain the power to reconstruct it, brick by brick, thought by thought. Every thought you allow to linger has power. Doubt becomes hesitation. Fear becomes inaction. Laziness becomes missed opportunities. On the other side, focus becomes execution. Belief becomes courage. Discipline becomes results. Most people are unaware of this invisible battlefield because their minds are flooded with distractions, excuses, and noise. They're feeding their reality with weakness while expecting strength. That is a lie, and life punishes those who believe it. If you want to dominate, you must become aware of your thoughts, ruthless in your control of them, and deliberate in the ones you allow to take root. Every great man, every titan of industry, every legend in history understood this instinctively. Control your mind first, control your reality second. Here's the hook that shocks most people. Your mind will always default to the path of least resistance. It will suggest comfort over challenge, ease over effort, fear over action. And if you let it, it will design a reality that keeps you small, weak, and irrelevant. But you are not meant to follow your mind. You are meant to lead it. The moment you take command of your thoughts, the impossible starts to bend to your will. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the architect of your life. Your mind is the software. Your actions are the hardware. Control the software, and the machine performs exactly how you want it to. Fail to control it, and the machine runs wild, dragging you through a life you never wanted. Here's a principle most people ignore. Reality doesn't care about excuses. Reality doesn't wait for readiness, confidence, or motivation. Reality responds to action, and action begins in the mind. When you think like a winner, you act like a winner. When you act like a winner, you produce results like a winner. That's why most people fail. They act while thinking weakly. Their actions are sloppy, hesitant, reactive, and inconsistent. But if you master your thoughts, every move you make is precise, calculated, and unstoppable. Your mind becomes a command center, your strategy becomes flawless, and the world bends to the force of your intention. Every day you allow chaos in your mind, you are sabotaging your reality. Every time you allow negative, lazy, or fearful thoughts to take root, you are shaping a life that reflects that weakness. And here's the kicker. Nobody else is going to fix it for you. No opportunity, no mentor, no miracle will do it. The only power that can change your life resides inside your skull. Control it. Feed it with clarity, focus, and belief. Chop. Lenge it to think bigger, move faster, and act stronger. That is how empires are built. That is how wealth, freedom, and legacy are created. That is how you move from being a passive observer of life to a master of your own reality. Your thoughts are not trivial. They are weapons, and if you wield them, you can conquer everything. Master them, and your life becomes unstoppable. Let them run wild, and you become invisible in the chaos of mediocrity. Here's the hook you need to remember. Your mind shapes your world. Your thoughts dictate your results. Master your mind, master your reality, and nothing in the universe can stand in your way. Action is the ultimate measure of power. Thinking, planning, dreaming, they mean nothing without movement. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect alignment of circumstances, and while they wait, life passes them by. Here's the harsh truth. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The longer you wait, the more control your mind, your fears, and the world take over you. Every second you hesitate, you are giving someone else an advantage, giving circumstances a voice, giving weakness permission to rule. That is why winners act immediately. Winners strike while others are still planning. Winners move while others are still dreaming. The hook is simple. If you don't act now, you're being acted upon. And that is the difference between success and failure. Time is the most ruthless force in existence. It doesn't wait for confidence. It doesn't wait for courage. It doesn't wait for readiness. Every minute you spend hesitating is a minute that will never return. Every day you delay, someone else is taking the lead, building their empire, growing stronger while you remain stagnant. The world rewards the decisive, not the indecisive. You can plan for years, you can think for decades, but unless you act, nothing changes. And here's the hook. Most people overestimate preparation and underestimate execution. The man who acts today, even imperfectly, is leagues ahead of the one who waits for the perfect moment tomorrow. Fear, doubt, and hesitation are parasites that feed on delay. They will tell you that you are not ready, that the risk is too high, that failure is inevitable. And here's the trick. They are lying. They are lies designed to control you. The moment you give in to them, you surrender your future. But when you act, when you move decisively despite fear, despite uncertainty, despite the chaos around you, you reclaim control. You become the driver of your life. Let me leave you with this. The mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. Master it, command it, dominate it, or forever you will be a passenger in a life you don't own. Take control now before your mind takes control of you.